Hello and welcome to another huge edition of All In. We've got 3 episodes left to go, fellas. It's Derby week. Can't wait. Not just Derby week. Empire Rose. We've got the Coolmore, the Golden Eagle up at Sydney, the Four Pillars. Highlight of my day, that'll be. Lewis Willoughby, welcome.
That'll be the highlight of the day if you win the race. Big
Yeah.
cheek. Yeah, good. Leading into Melbourne Cup week, aren't we? So we've got to try and find a winner to start the carnival or this portion of the carnival because it's going to be a big next 4 meetings across that week to week, as we know. And then, yeah, Golden Eagle time in Sydney. And without a doubt, not that we've had heaps of runnings of it, but without a doubt, this is the strongest edition we have ever seen of the race with really strong international influence and good Australian contingent as well. So that's going to be a great race to kind of dive into and dissect as well.
The man that can find a winner, Dean Watling from deanwatling.com. Good afternoon. Was it 2:30 on a Monday afternoon? How are you, mate?
I'm good. Like Louis said, it's a bit of a we finished last week and now you got to find another gear and get through sort of cup week. It's exciting, it's great, but like Louis mentioned, it's probably the hardest 2 weeks in racing to sort of get out on top the next couple of weeks. So great. Louis found a midweek winner. He's on fire. You're on fire, Gannon. I know you had a big Saturday. So hopefully, and I just want to give a shout out to all the listeners and the viewers this week. I think we hit a record for the potty or for the YouTube show last week. So shout out to everyone getting in the comments and getting around us. We do really appreciate it. And hopefully we've got a couple of winners for Saturday, like Louis mentioned.
Yeah,
Yep.
views started going up when Louis stopped referring it to as a podcast.
Yeah. To the cast this week, Ali, because I just referred to it as a potty.
Good stuff, lads. Yeah, about was it 8,000 or something? Unbelievable stuff. So big thank you to everyone that chimes in, comments, and sticks out and actually watches the show. We mentioned it in the past. Your engagement and viewership is our oxygen. We'll keep turning up if you keep watching. We'll do a Melbourne Cup show as well, lads. So that'll be good fun. Probably might punch that out Sunday night or give it as long as lean in as possible. But
Yep.
look forward to that, guys. Let's kick off just with a quick review. Via Sistina, I don't think I've seen a performance like that in I don't know how old am I 100 in nearly 40 years of watching racing. Wow, we've seen Winks do some beautiful things, some marvelous things at the racecourse, and what Via Sistina did's right up there, Louis.
Yeah, I can't add much more than everyone's already spoken about. It's just an insane win. And it just raises so many questions about the Tuesday. Won't it run? Does that help it miles in the legs kind of thing? I don't know. I still kind of haven't been able to sit down and figure out what's going on. All I know is that a very good horse from Japan had the gun sit, broke the track record, and got beaten 8 lengths. So,
Lou, do you reckon Reese's just said to Jared Fry, just jump off this one this morning, Jared, and just let it go around for three, and we'll pick it up on the way past. Maybe is that what he's done?
yeah.
Is that what he's done on Friday night to
If
get his
any
winner?
with the greatest respect, if any of Reese's horses put up a Via Sistina performance, I would fall out of my chair.
He had a couple. He's flying. He's
There you
doing
go.
well.
Well,
He
yeah.
had a winner
He's
on
got the
Friday
flag
night
at
at the
the
Valley.
That and the one he's got, the filly, that lovely cut, it'll win the 1,000 guineas. It's a freak. It's got a proper turn of foot.
Good horse.
So well,
running
I don't
this
know when we get
weekend.
to that race, but it'll be winning.
We'll get to that race at some stage. But
This
what's the
weekend.
tip? Look for a
Yeah.
market. If would ask you to bring up a market, Louis, but you're having a few internet
Um,
troubles.
I
Obviously,
can tell you
over
it's
there in the
favourite
eastern
though. I think
suburbs.
it's $8 favourite, maybe last time I checked.
Yeah.
Ooh.
$8 favourite for the 1,000 guineas, but it's $4.50 favourite for the vanity this weekend.
There we go.
So
Um,
I'm
Dino,
guessing
your
that's
thoughts
the
on Via
setup.
Sistina? Let us know, mate. What do you think? Sure, super, obviously.
Yep. Outstanding. I think it was the only thing I could come close to it. Excluding Winks, was probably Very Elegant. Melbourne Cup just gave that sort of feel where we knew she was probably a good horse, but then she's just gone to another level. Can she get back to that level? Not sure. I think the setup helped. I found it interesting that the biggest thing for me was that they flew the track work rider down on the Wednesday post the mishap on the Tuesday, and he said to Chris and said on air, he goes, "I don't know what has happened overnight or like what that's done to her, but I've never ever felt her like this in a track work or seen her this switched on ever." And then Chris echoed that from the couple of days after that as well. So don't know if it's woken her up. It's like maybe having I don't know, going into a grand final and you have a post session against Reggie's and they towel you up and it just sort of kicks you into gear and you go to a next level or something like that. But no, great. Hard to explain, hard to describe. It's
Yeah.
just phenomenal.
Well, you can probably touch on a few things here. Obviously, I don't know if you call it placebo from a perceived effect of something may have happened from jockey's perspective. Oh, she felt differently, and maybe in their mind, track work riders, oh, she felt differently, and that's because of that's why it is.
Mm.
She did the extra three, whatever it is. Her rating's obviously significant due to the margin, and the horses that she beat are best horses she's faced in a long time. But you're spot on. The race shape was in her favour. If their ride prognosis is a little bit more negative, I think the margin's less, but full credit. Super stuff. Thoughts on broadsiding, lads? I thought that he's probably a little bit below what we saw first up in the Golden Rose. Good, impressive. He's around third in the Cox Plate. Louis?
I'll take Jamie Carr's word on it that she said he's just still a big baby, bumped around by Docklands and kind of threw out the bit and then picked up to run third. And it was maybe a bit of a throwaway line that she said he'll come back here like Animo and win the Cox Plate next year. But
Yeah.
I don't think she's just throwing out these high hyperboles for nothing. Like, I think I'll take her word on it that maybe he's still got a bit of developing to come. There's obviously talent there, so maybe we'll just see the best of him rather later on.
I like that from Jamie as well because I think she's been, um, you know, much better in the media and much more vocal in some of the things she's been saying. I wouldn't say better, but she's more outwards in the media, which is super because she's a star. We do need to hear more from her, and those comments are good because it gets us talking about the Cox Plate 364 odd days later with comments
Yep.
like that. So 364 days to go. So super stuff. Right, let's focus on the weekend ahead. We'll kick off. Obviously, we're down at Flemington there, huge day. Let's just touch on the Victoria Derby. I'll give you a market, then we'll go straight into it, Louis, with you. El Castello, 350, Henline, $6, odds courtesy of Tab, of course. King of Thunder, $8, Red Aces, $8, Keeneland, 11, Saint Emilion, 11. Longer the rest, Louis.
Yep, got to give it to El Costello for winning the Spring Champion and backing up into the Derby. Should be no issue. And knowing Anthony Cummings and how he trains, they're 100% always going there unless there was a big issue with the horse. But I don't think there would be. It was a foregone conclusion as soon as it crossed the line that that's where they would go. I'm going to tip against it again for the fifth time this preparation and just hope I can get it beat at some stage. I think the bet is King of Thunder, who comes out of the Red Aces race. Red Aces had the perfect run, got there this is in the Moonee Valley Vars. King of Thunder was back in the field, over raced early, crabbed on the turn, lost ground, flew home, one more stride, two more strides, probably wins the race. I think 2,500 metres now, no worries. And I just think it's a good enough price to have a go each way at it. Thinking that it'll get some more distance and be able to turn the tables on Red Aces, who that form line, along with the Spring Champion and the other form line, which was King of Wall Street, trying to see Keeneland, the Caulfield Classic. Don't think that the Spring Champion is just the be-all and end-all form line for this race. It's really evenly matched last 8 years between that Group 1 Spring Champion, the Vars, and the Caulfield Classic. It's almost, I think, like 3 of them through a Spring Champion and 2 for the rest, that you really can come out of any of those races. So I think the each-way value in the Derby's King of Thunder. All respect for El Castello. I don't like the Caulfield Classic form this year with King of Wall Street, China Sea, and Keeneland. They finished in a big bunch together, and no one really kind of wanted to win that race in the end. They just kind of bunched across the line together and somehow something won there. So I'd kind of look away from them. And if I'm going to go against El Castello, just from a price perspective, it's King of Thunder for me, Dino.
Yeah, interesting. So is Henline backing up? Do we know if it's? I'm just looking at the
A refreshed market, I think.
As far as I knew this morning, he wasn't going around, and that was him. And now, an hour before the show, he's now in the market. So
yeah, and then broadsiding's out. But I'm just looking at the likely fields Trav Noonan's document, and Henline's not in there, but broadsiding is. So need to triple check on that. But
he's still active.
Looking at the market,
spelling.
Yeah, so I would assume that he's got the experience around the obviously Melbourne way of going. If he backs up, I would be backing him to beat El Costello. I think you look at the tempo of that Spring Champions, and El Costello had every possible chance out in front. I think a stronger tempo, bigger field, longer straight, and the experience the Melbourne way, I would lean the way of Henline. But just want to know if it's going there. I'm probably going to have to do some research post-show. Might put in the comments, Scano, but yeah, that would be the way that I would lean.
Yeah, it's slight concern the grand final was last Saturday. So that's the obvious concern. But I'm with you, Dino. If we get confirmations going there, I think the price differential is too significant. Albeit, I had a small bet headline. I thought El Costello was a horse to beat. I was against Fifth Falcon, but I thought he had his chance and probably every possible. And they both had good runs. Um, so that price differential is too significant. What do you do with it unless you know the horse is going there? Probably nothing. El
Yeah,
Costello and
exactly.
headline rate for me 2 to 3 lengths in front of anything else. It's just purely on how I bet. I couldn't back anything else. Or is there a horse that you could sort of see jump off the page? I'm betting sort of $51 scary that sort of comes out of those similar form lines, which I thought was a bit unrealistic. I didn't think the differential between those horses and the Keenelands and of the world, but I couldn't have it. I just don't. It's genuinely 5 lengths off them. That's too
yeah.
big a rate of improvement. So El Castello, Handline, the clear two for me. What do you do with them? Probably just wait and see. No all in play for me. Why don't we take a look at the Coolmore Stud Stakes? Cracking race, Growing Empire 350. Was unlikely, now likely. Traffic Warden 350. Switzerland $5. Probably should stop there, but we'll name a few.
Mm.
Bellatrix Star $11. First Settler $11. Lady of Camelot $11. Coleman 15. Gatsby's 15s. Private Life, I'd say, is unlikely $21. Dino.
Yep, you summed it up. I think only the first three in the market, Growing Empire, Traffic Ward, Switzerland, can win the race. They all come out of the best form lines. Two are meant to come out of the Everest. Obviously, Traffic Ward and scratched at the gates. We've seen a couple of form lines come through the Everest like that. Home Affairs is the one of note that obviously failed in Everest, turned up and towed them up by 6 in this. I think it's probably going to come down to gates in the better lanes, but I think Traffic Water has the most upside. I think Growing Empire, albeit the way that Ma trains, they slowly progress, and you probably get better towards the back end of their preps. Traffic Warden's going to be third up into this. I think he is the bet in the race. I think it might be a blessing in disguise that he scratched the gates in Everest. Yeah, I'm with him. The camp know how to get him right. Jamie Carr's on. I just hope it probably draws out. I think inside gates are probably the negative when you think about Flemington as a whole. He had a jump out there this week too down the straight, which definitely helps. I think that's a big tick. But yeah, Lou, Traffic Warden for me in the Coolmore.
Yep, I'm with you. A lot of them jumped out on that. I think it was Thursday last week down the straight. I can't add much more to that. I guess the knock is that a lot of these are untested down the straight. Like Traffic Warden has not run a straight race under race pressure, but it's not a negative, right? It's just an unknown. It's just a little knock. I'm still in camp. Growing Empire doesn't get a Group 1 1,200 meters like that. I'm just not wavering from that. I think so. It sits outside the lead in the Everest. The winner sat 3 wide outside it and beat it. I'm just still not convinced it's getting a strong 1,200. They tend to sometimes run a little bit of a slower tempo down the straight, which may help it. But I've got to be against something. I've got to take a sit against something. So it's it. Traffic Warden on top. Switzerland is an interesting one. So it was back to being good again, winning last start. I watched its jump out down the Flemington Straight. I wasn't thrilled, I don't think, with it compared to how some of the others went. And I think if there is a spec, I know you mentioned it's maybe unlikely to go, but I have had a small go at Private Life, who is coming back off a 1,600-meter Caulfield Guineas win, which is not the pattern for this. But it did jump out down the Flemington Straight. And that last 100, they just said, let's just give you a click here and see how you go. And it really extended through the line in the jump out. And he's obviously a Group 1 winner. Maybe not the worst chance. It'll be strong late in the piece compared to others who are maybe getting to their max by the time the finish post comes around. So if it lines up, I'm spec'd at a big price. But yeah, I'm with Dino, Traffic Warden.
Beautiful. I'm against Growing Empire, deep into a preparation. Like this is deep. This is a what do they call this?
Afterthought.
An afterthought. Thank you, Dino. It's very much an afterthought. I was going to say mistake. No, afterthought. This is an afterthought. It's not as a punter. It's just not what you want to be chiming into. $3.50 into an afterthought. The horse went really well in an Everest, but had really good setup. Like
Every possible.
every
Yeah.
possible chance to win that race in a field where you could you could have thrown one of Dino's extra large shirts over the top of them and covered most of them. And for that reason and that reason alone, I can't possibly back that horse at $3.50. Traffic Warden at $3.50, I'd want better it just purely because the preparation hasn't necessarily gone to plan, was ready to go to produce a career peak there on Everest Day. Now has to go back. They have to do a few things at track work. Like it's not just as simple as, oh yeah, he'll be right. Like you've got to get the horse, maintain where the horse was at for another 2 weeks to that stage. They'll do it. They'll be close. It's just not ideal, and it's not what you want to do. What you want to take $3.50 with Switzerland, JMac on fire, Waller on fire. Third up, yeah, third up, pretty sure.
Yeah, third up now. Yeah, first up failed, freshened, wins last start, and then third up now.
Yeah, just got thrown off.
Third up, but it's had two jump outs within the prep or trials.
Yeah,
plus the trials it had leading into the prep, so it'd have to be really fitness of a third or fourth up, you'd think.
Yeah, it would be rock hard fit, ready to go. Blinkers up its sleeve. All talk out of the camp was that blinkers would improve. He would improve again with blinkers. So I suggest maybe last preparation the blinkers went on at some stage and they realised that he might have some improvement. And this is grand final stuff. So third up, grand final, Waller, like we know how they go third up. Scary, scary stuff. And I just think we might look back and go, oh, that was the obvious. And the other two were also obvious to let go. So Switzerland clearly on top for me at that price. And if you do some deep diving, you might even get $6 somewhere along the line. Let's go to the tab. Empire Rose, a tissue $4.50, a Kestrel $4.50, Amelia's Jewel $6. Plenty of ammo, which Louis has at the moment, $6. Safina 11, Fangirl $15. Be careful with her. If she was going here, she wouldn't be $15. I believe she's going to the 2,000 meter race the following Saturday. Louis.
Race of the day for mine at Melbourne, anyway. I think this is the pick of them. I did all my notes here without a market, so I'm just kind of only putting together how this shapes in terms of an all-in play. I'm going to stick with Al Safina at the double-figure price, even though I've got a lot of respect for the two at the top of the market. Third in the Toorak, Al Safina was no match for the winner and kind of only just got beaten by the second horse. If you take Antino's freakish run out of it, and look at how the rest of them performed. This was nosed out by Craig, and then the gap to fourth was big. So I think that is a good run. Prior, as I mentioned, leading into the Toorak when I was keen on her, the stock stakes win was really good. I just think she's going very well. They've been back to the jump outs again at Flemington. She's going to be like peak rock hard fit, ready to roll off that good form line behind Antino. Blake Shin goes on. That's a massive positive. I think at $11, she's a good bet. A tissue was back to being much better in the Caulfield Stakes behind Deny Knowledge. She's done this before, 2,000 metres, good run, back to a mile. That was a third in Australian Cup, back to a second in a Group 1 Queen of the Turf, where she's gone really well, second in this race last year. I think if she is back to her best, you have to respect. Orchestral, coming through that Toorak, it was an absolute horror watch. Never wins, right, but certainly doesn't finish down the field where it does, could never get out. And then when it did through the line, it was rocketing. My little knock is that what's its best? Probably 2,000 metres plus, right? And they stick to a mile. Here's a little bit of a knock, but it was super unlucky in the Toorak. And I think if there's a value bet, I don't know what price, you've got Gannon for Komochi, who's coming into this fourth up. I think a mile will suit. Has been good, sneaky good latest too. Was 3 wide, no cover in a Manicato and kept finding. Run of racing the Silver Eagle, but was strong and beaten under a length. It was Group 1 placed in a Coolmore for the fillies and mares at this stage of the prep over a mile previously. So I think it could be over the odds. If I'm going to have a 2-bet play at a price, which I will, it's Al Safina and Komochi.
$15, Louis.
Sure. Oh, that's shorter than
race. I agree with you, Louis. It could be one of the races of the day. I think you can make an opinion for a lot of them. I even think Amelia's Jewel's going terrific up here without winning. Goes down there. She's a winner of Let's Lope Stakes there at Flemington, so she knows the track. The horse that knows the track the best and probably has the best record is a tissue. I think she's had 4 starts for 2 wins, a second and a fifth. And I love her in the setup of the sensitive. I took her on in the autumn in the Oz Cup 2000 back to 1,600 metres, and she should have won that day. She was held up, and Zugoch obviously won, but she should have easily won that. Is the price any good? Probably not. You probably get the exact same price come race day, but I think the tissue wins Empire Rose. Just needs a gate. That's the only thing with her pattern, but we've seen her down in Flemington Gannon, and it is elite, a tissue.
Yeah, tissue clearly the one to beat, deserved favourite. J-Mac booked, Amelia's Jewel. I think this is her chance to shine. I think she's been prepped, aimed. This has been everything has been aimed at this, and I think she'll go very, very close. They're the two. The market suggests that, so you don't have to be a genius for me to point you in that direction. The Empire Rose. That's it. Right, let's go to Sydney. Off to Rosehill, the Golden Eagle, 1,500 meters, worth squillions and squillions and squillions of dollars, and the reason Louis won't be getting a contract upgrade. Ascoli Pacino, Louis? Is that what we're going with?
Okay. Yep.
$3.50. Jolly Star, $6. Lazat, $6. Southport Tycoon, 11. Steffi Magnetica, 11. Tom Kitten, Lake Forest, Corazon Beat, Craig, NCAP, Macarena, Ostraka, all double figures. Go on, Dino, kick us off. The Golden Eagle.
Yep, I'll look through the nominations for this. This has got to be the most internationals we've seen probably in any race in Sydney for a while. Like, there's 3 or 4 in this race. They're all probably good chances as well. Most of them are sort of, well, favourite is the Japanese horse. Looking at the profile of that horse today, it's just got the best first up setup you've ever seen. The way they've been sort of spacing it runs back there in Japan, it's interesting. It sort of has a run and then they give it 16 weeks off and then comes back, wins again. I think it's all of it starts. Pretty much you call it second up. I think the only time first up, the only time it's been second up, it had 4 weeks between runs. So it's just a dynamite rocket fresh horse. Joe Moreira rode against it over in Japan and was beaten on a different horse by this horse. So he's seen it. He wants to jump aboard. I think that's a massive tick. And we saw what OBM Biramai did when it came out here. So respecting it, can't chime into those prices this far out. I think you've got to do a lot more a deeper dive into the horse and into the form and into its barrier, etc., to take that price and just blatantly taking it. What will I back here? I think there's 2 good bets to have. I have to be with Jolly Star. You watch that Everest run and she hits a massive flat spot and you go, what's doing here? And then she picks up the last 200 metres and rockets through the line, just screams that I'm not a 1,200 metre horse. I need 14, I need 16. So I love her up to 1,500 metres here. And Southport Tycoon, he's the exact same. He probably was dynamic second up when staying at 12. Third up, they've gone one too many times at 1,200 metres, and he just looked like he hit the front, hit a flat spot, and needs further. So they're the 2 Australian hopes that I'll back. I think they're both proper horses. They're Group 1 horses here, and these imports are going to be pretty good to beat us. And I think both of them probably have the tactical speed needed to win at Rosehill, Lou. So I'll win the way of Jolly Star and Southport Tycoon in this year's Golden Eagle.
So I, as we know nothing about international form. So I went and spoke to someone who does and learned a lot. So I'll give a shout out to Simon Donopoulos from Racing and Sports. I said, what are their ratings? Help me line up these international horses compared to what we have. Just quickly, Dino, on the Japanese horse not running very often, that is extremely Japanese. They rarely race. They are kept in their box most of the time. So it's not more so that they freshen it to run again. That's just how they do it. Like you watch Equinox, only used to come out and race 2 or 3 times a year, and that was it. They're good horses. They very rarely take them to the races, which is a little funny. But so he kind of said this is how it works. Lazat has the biggest or the best time form rating last start, winning the Group 1 in France. I think it was, or it could have been the UK. Forgive me. Wherever it was the best rating. The thing is that Ascoli Pacino didn't rate as highly winning, but it has the scope to get up to that level. So it kind of becomes, are you taking the horse who's already rated to that level that can win this race, that has to then come from Europe to do it here with a jockey who's never ridden here? Or do you take the horse who has to come from Japan who has the scope to reach that level? I'm going to go with Lazat, the other one. It has a more attractable racing pattern. You go back and watch Ascoli Pacino, settles in the back half of the field more often than not. Lazat was second in run when it won last start. So it's going to be up on speed. I think that's tick in its favour. B, it's a bigger price, so tick. And C, it's been there and done that to that rating that you need. So you kind of don't need to take it on trust that it can run that number. You know it can run that number if it shows up well. So I'm going to side with Lazat for that. I think of the 2 local chances, Dino, I was with you tossing up between Southport Tycoon and Jolly Star. I would lean to Jolly Star only because she walloped Southport Tycoon when they clashed first up and she won really comfortably. They've then gone on to do good things since, Southport Tycoon winning the Group 1 and Jolly Star being really good in the Everest. So I would lean to Jolly Star. But I've somewhat now been able to line up these 2 international horses, and I think from a price perspective and a map perspective, I'm going to be with Lazat. But if you listen to anyone talk, even Tommy Berry, who's riding a horse who ran third when Ascoli Pacino ran second, he even says something would need to go desperately wrong for us to beat Ascoli Pacino. So there's obviously people in the know who are talking up this thing as if it's, a really, really good horse, which gets me worried. But yeah, I think Lazat is the one.
Spruik's enormous. The old Pacino.
Huge.
Absolutely enormous. Everything I hear is just turns up sound, even luck wins. So I got no idea. It's an absolute raffle for me. Not the kind of race I'm really keen on playing in at all. I'd much rather have a bet into the 4 pillars. Lads, give us your best all-in play of the weekend, Louis.
I'm gonna make it Al Safina each way. But gee, I'm telling you, off this conversation I had with Simon, I'm full team Lazat.
Love it. Dino?
I like that. I'll go the race we didn't touch on, the Russell Paulding Stakes, Bill and Nicotina. Best all in play of the weekend.
What price are we getting her?
280 currently.
Really?
That's the 1300 meter. Yeah, 1300 meter race. Like, just suits it down to the ground. You look at the horses behind it: Sunshine Parish, Private Eye, Me, King of Sparta. Like, it's, yeah, I reckon that's juicy, very juicy.
Not a bad
You're
price.
not concerned off a big gut busting Everest, 3 wide on speed. Any knock there? No.
No, I just think the tempo and the nature of the 1200 meters, that stable will do better than most. And she's shown in the past that she can handle racing, and she doesn't have to lead like a. I think I'd be concerned if it was a Pride and Jenny set up back to the Cox Plate now.
Anyone bar her, she just relishes racing.
Yeah. If she wasn't ready to win, they wouldn't take her back to the races, right? Like,
no, exactly. Like, they've got such a good guide on her. So if anything, probably for her, it just means she comes on a length or two or something. Just something remarkable.
She does that. She wins. I think Switzerland wins at Coolmore, so I'm very keen. Best midweek bets. Go on, Louis. Kick us off. No markets out yet.
Not me. Someone else. Dino, stand by.
I'll kick us off. Yeah, Louis got the job last week.
I'll find
so
one.
Well done with that. I will go Randwick around the Kenzo race 6, number 2, Driftnet. I think this horse, strangest horse ever. Took about 12 starts to break its mate, and now it's turned into an absolute rocket. Its trials are elite. Very 6 off the trials. I think it will be winning race 6. Race 6, number 2, the Randwick Kenzo on Wednesday. Gannon, Louis.
Yeah.
Fast little
Tell
horse.
You what, yeah, go Gannon. What do you got for us?
No, it's just saying fast little horse, mate. Over to you.
Oh, don't know if it's going to be. I'll put it in there. I'll put it in the comments, whatever it is. But race 3 is going to be a real cracker. That got Briasa third up, Inhibitions second up with a cracking second up record off a good trial. Barrier 1. You got Dream Hour there first up with Joe Moreira. I'll say that I'm probably keen on Briasa at this page, but I'll if it's anything changes, I'll put it in the YouTube comments. I actually forgot about our midweek best bet, so I haven't done anything yet.
Yeah, I know Briasa's also
talking time bomb, mate.
Yeah, Briasa's also nom for Saturday, so fair chance. Well, you'd think it'd go here, but fair chance it might turn up there as well. I'm with you. Briasa's good horse. Should be 1-1-1 spell 1-1. Just as wide as you like. Good thing beat.
Schiller's back on too.
Schiller on. You're knocking your boy, are you?
Zachy? No, he's terrific.
You're knocking your boy.
Tyler just knows
it well. He's not a subscriber. He won't be happy with you.
Sure he is.
I sent him the replay and he said, don't worry. I sent him the replay saying, what are you doing? And he's like, don't stress. I was in a good rhythm. I said, okay.
Oh, I wasn't in a good rhythm. Let me give you the tip when I was watching. All right.
I'm interested if they go there. Yeah.
Great race. Inhibitions could go huge. Briasa, good horse. They're the two. See what price they put up. If they manage to put up $4, either of those two, just bet whichever one they put up $4 and work the rest out later. That's been all in for Derby week. We'll be back for the Cup and we'll be back for Stakes Day, if that's what they still call it. Can't wait. Bye for now.
Ciao.